Fantasy managers, hello and welcome back to the final preview podcast of the 20 and 21 season. Today we'll be previewing game week 38 and reviewing game week 37. And with me, as always, are the usual culprits. We've got Jack from Esports Live. How are you doing, mate?
Very good, mate. A bit emotional. Last official game week. It's been a hell of a season, crazy season that we've jam-packed into. But good to be with you both. On the last game week.
Yeah, it is quite emotional, quite sad. But what better company to review the final game than with you two? So we'll move on to you now, Ollie. How are you doing, mate? Are you a bit sad as well? You know, it's been a long season. It's felt long and it's been weird, but we're finally here at the end of it now.
Yeah, look, I am a bit emotional, to be honest, because you look when we started the season way back when, and we were in lockdown and we didn't really have much to look forward to. So, we obviously had the podcast as a bit of an outlet, and now it's transformed into something quite brilliant. So, it's been brilliant to record this all season with you lot, and hopefully finish off strong.
I'll get a tear in my eye.
Very, very sad, mate. And probably quite sadder is the haircuts that we had back then. We did look through it the other day. And
oh, my days.
Some of the lockdown barnets that you especially, Ollie, I'm going to call you out here. But some of the haircuts.
Mate, you are more than right to call me out because I have had some absolute shockers. And there's not been one as well. I mean, admittedly, I have, I've not been, obviously, I've not been the greatest points, to be fair. Oh, look at that. There we go. That one of me on the left. I've been trying to get that photo replaced for I don't know how long, but obviously, I've been through bloody surgeries during the podcast, and there's been that. But I think the worst part of the podcast, the lowest I've been, was that Barnet, probably around game week 7 or 8. If you want to go back and find it, game week 7 or game week 8, I had some shocking haircuts. So back to normality now, which is nice.
Jack and the Guru managed to keep their hair sort of in decent function. So I'm guessing it was just sort of us during that sort of period.
It's the wiser heads. It's the wiser heads. The more experienced heads knowing what they're doing with life, and us just being idiots, I suppose, Elliot, mate. Let's be honest.
Yeah, mate, sounds a little bit like it, but we'll move back into the world of football now and off haircuts. This isn't a haircut podcast overall, it's a fantasy Premier League podcast. And I'll just talk to you, Jack, just quickly. Obviously the fans were back in at Old Trafford this week. It was brilliant. The result, not so much, but just how good was it to see 10,000 or so Man United fans cheering their team on again?
Oh, incredible. Absolute scenes. It's better than them invading the pitch this time and protesting outside. It was nice to be in the stadium and see that happening. And it was, just good to have fans. Football's nothing without fans, as we keep saying. And the atmosphere was obviously a lot better than what it's been all season. Getting behind the boys and getting behind the team, but obviously not the greatest result in the world that we wanted. But it was Cavani with that finish. Obviously lifted the lid off the place.
Yeah, they were pretty happy with that one, weren't they? But still, another controversial Bruno Fernandes assist. We talked about a goal the other week. They weren't too sure about the assist this week, but if it's with Bruno, I think they just want to give it to him, which is fair enough. But it did look like he got a little touch on it, so it does make sense. And Ollie, you haven't been able to experience your team with fans back in the stadium yet, but just how big was it to see crowds back again and the cheering and all that sort of stuff, especially for a team like Burnley that got battered 3-0 at home? You would have been absolutely thrilled with that.
Yeah, well, I mean, they don't have many fans to begin with, do they? But I mean, I suppose I will say, as much as I have a distaste for Burnley, fair play for letting their fans in for free. And I don't say many nice things about Burnley that they deserve to be commended for, but they definitely deserve to be commended for that. And it was nice to see that they could come back into turf more and see their team get battered like usual. But I mean, I think the thing is, for me, I think the FA Cup exemplified this most, was the celebrations when the fans, when your team scores, are unreal. And we obviously know that, being football fans ourselves, how good it is live when your team scores. And even watching at home, obviously, with no fans there, it feels like you're celebrating by yourself, and it doesn't feel right. But with fans in next season, I'm sure Rovers fans will pack Ewood, and hopefully we get more fans than we did pre-COVID, and it'll be back to normal again. But it is brilliant to see.
Yeah, mate, and I think I've just got to jam it in here and say that good luck to Sunderland next season, who will be playing League One football once again. Saw something quite funny that they had their 10,000 fans into the stadium, obviously with the COVID restrictions, and everyone's saying that it's not really fair that they're allowed their full capacity these days in the stadium. 10,000, quite generous to them. But hats off to Lincoln City for beating them in the playoffs. It was very, very
sheer celebration.
Made my morning. Exactly, mate. Made my morning a lot better. So thank you, Lincoln, and enjoy League One, Sunderland fans. I hope you are. You're not coming back anytime soon. They're all saying that Josh Maja was going to relegate the Mags on the final day of the season, and here we are on the final day of the season, and we're playing Fulham with nothing to play for, Ollie.
I mean, I thought that Josh Maja might actually do it. To be fair, the way that you lot were going, it didn't look good, but you lot are fine, and it's quite disappointing as we look towards the final day now. Other than the top 4 race, there's nothing to play for. Obviously, the champions were decided months ago. The relegation places were decided months ago. So it's a bit of a disappointing final day with only the top 4 to play for, but at least that's still alive.
Yeah, I don't think you'll mind that too much, Jack. You sort of solidified your position in the league for the season. Are you sort of content with, going into the final day with not much to play for?
Yeah, listen, Ollie, rest everyone. Let's just get this Europa. Let's get this Europa trophy lifted and sorted.
How far have United fallen?
Listen. Well, at least we're in Europe and the Premier League, Ollie. Come on, Blackburn used to be up there. From the '94, you've gone, haven't you?
Fair enough. I was reminiscing over that today as well. Well before my time.
All right. Well, there we go.
Definitely not wrong there, but we'll move it over to the FPL side of things now. And in game week 37, the average amount of points was 43. Some people only just managed to hit that, including myself. And the highest points in the world was 120. My 3 shocks of the week starts with Nicola Pepe, who got 2 goals, 3 bonus points, and 15 points in total away to Crystal Palace in Roy Hodgson's last game for the Eagles. My second is Andy Robertson, who got 2 assists, a clean sheet, and 3 bonus points against Ollie's favourite team in the league. And then my third one is Nat Phillips, who got a goal, a clean sheet, and 1 bonus point against Ollie's favourite team in the league again. So he was obviously thrilled with the Burnley result this week, Ollie. But just how thrilled were you with the week that you sort of had this week? If we bring the share screen up now, we can we'll see how you went. You got 51 points, which isn't a bad score by the means of the week. So were you happy with that?
Relatively. I mean, look, I was hoping to potentially move up a bit more. I was going into that week potentially looking to try and push for a top 100k finish. I doubt I'll get that now, which is quite frustrating. But it was disappointing with Harry Kane. If I'd have gone with Bamford, maybe I would have been further up there with the captain's armband. But you always go with the man in form, and obviously it's looking like Kane's last home game didn't end it on the way he would have liked.
Looking for a move away, he's going to want to be scoring against Aston Villa at home, you'd like to think, wouldn't you? But, he was obviously crying. We'd love to have the Guru on to ask his opinion on that. But, he's not on today, unfortunately.
Season review will get time. Don't you worry about that, mate.
Might be gone by then.
Kelechi on the bench, who I've actually transferred out, which was probably a bit of an impulse one, but it's a bit like a free hit this week in that you want to get players for one fixture. And I think the Tottenham game isn't brilliant for that. So Kelechi's gone, but obviously getting him on the bench was a bit disappointing. It was nice to see Luke Ayling and Stuart Dallas do well against Southampton. So, average week, just slightly better than average if we're talking, realistically. But, slightly disappointing nonetheless.
Yeah, you're happy with Jesse Lingard. You got big hopes for him for this week. He's obviously got Southampton now as well. You stuck with him through a couple of bad weeks for him, but hopefully he gets back to those sort of double point scores that he was getting for this last week.
Yeah, and I hope he stays at West Ham. I mean, obviously, we have a Man United fan on the podcast in Jack, and obviously I think that he'll want Jesse Lingard to go back to United and do well, but it's nice to see Jesse Lingard loving his football again. For being honest, it's been revolutionised at the London Stadium, so hopefully he stays about. But just on that game, obviously, both my transfers do revolve around that game. I haven't told you about either of these yet, but I've got rid of Iheanacho, like I say. I've gone to Danny Ings, so obviously on the flip side of West Ham, obviously they're playing Southampton, so that is that one. In fact, the other one doesn't. I was going to get rid of Kufal, but I decided not to. I got rid of. Who did I get rid of? I brought in Jota. Obviously, I did get rid of Jota last week because I missed the deadline. Even though I'd had my captain sorted out, I forgot to get rid of Jota, even though the podcast I said I would, which didn't really cost me anything because obviously I've got the 2 free transfers this week, and I've brought in one of your favourites, Elliot, in Joe Willock. So Willock, and we've got Ings in for Iheanacho and Diogo Jota.
It's funny, Joe Willock. He's one of the ones that, if you'd had him in for the past 7 games, you'd be absolutely laughing. But yeah, it was a bit similar to Gundogan for me, I think. I just didn't sort of back him to keep doing it consistently and consistently. It's obviously different with Newcastle not being a very good team and stuff like that, and City dominating. But, fair play to him. Fair play to you bringing him in. I got him in draft last week and he helped me beat you, but we'll get onto a bit more of that later.
We didn't need to go there. We didn't need to go there, did we?
But Joe Willock's definitely a good shout, mate. And we saw you shake your head earlier, Jack, at the 43-point average, and we can see why now. 42 points just below the average in this game week. So sort of what went wrong for you then?
Oh, well, looking at that, mate, what went right? I think the West Ham assets saved me in the end with Lingard and Antonio. Obviously, the big hitters with Spurs assets delivered nothing. With Salah as well, not delivering. United drawing with Fulham, the 1-1. Left Watkins on the bench. I left all my Aston Villa assets on there, so missed out on a few points there as well. So just didn't swing my way this week, and it's just one of them, innit? It's you win some, you lose some, and this week wasn't. I think that's probably my worst one for a good while, actually, in terms of being below the average. I took a hit on there as well, so I finished on 38. So yeah, not a great week, to be fair.
And is this red triangle over Seamus Coleman, that's for a knock with an unknown return date. So is he one that you're going to look to sort of get out this week and change it up for the last week?
Oh, well, obviously my luck continued, didn't it? Because I made my moves early this week. So I made my moves early, took Target out, and I brought... who did I bring in? I brought Trent. I brought Trent in this week. And then Coleman took the red, and I was like, oh no, sorry. Actually, I made another move I took out. Where is he? Oh my goodness. I can't even think of who I've done now. Let me just jump on my page here and let me see what I've done. I did make a couple of transfers and I've just got a bit frustrated, and you know what it is. Sometimes you get a bit miffed off with it. So I've got
just ready for the end of the season, Jack.
Ready for the end of listen, I missed out. I've missed out on the top 20 now, so the top 30 was in there. So I thought I'll spend a few more points and see where I get to. So at the back, I've got I brought Tierney in for Shaw because I don't think Shaw's going to play. So I thought I might as well take a hit and see if Tierney, if Tierney can do right. I know, yeah, you bet. Otherwise, just blown 4 points for nothing. And then brought Trent Alexander-Arnold in, and up top, Bamford. I brought Bamford in. Sorry, up top. I've dropped Son for this week because he's just done my head in for the last 2 weeks as well, which I'm sure he's frustrated a lot of fantasy managers out there as well.
Yeah, I can definitely agree with you there with the Son frustration. He didn't really do much for me as he helped me to just about reach the average this week with 43 points from myself. Guaita with the 1, Dallas and Alioski with the clean sheet was obviously really, really nice to see. Luke Shaw with the 1 point. Jesse Lingard with the 7 I was delighted with that. It's nice to see him getting FPL points again with his assist. Salah, Son, Greenwood and Kane all did absolutely nothing. Bamford 5 for me, which was brilliant. So my Leeds assets have really, really saved my week. And then my captain in the bottom right corner there, Joe Linton, unfortunately went off injured. Rumours had it he was going to score a hat-trick second half, so he was very unlucky to get subbed off with a little injury and an injury cloud. So yeah, it was all going right for him on the day. Everything was going his way. He was going to score a hat-trick in the second half, but no, the Premier League just weren't ready for that one. So yeah, we'll just move on now quickly, and we've got a question from one of the live viewers, and he says, Trent and Bruno to Dallas and Mane. I have 3 Liverpool players, ? I'm chasing 12 points and first place has Trent but not Salah, so he might take a -4, or just Digne to Dallas. Second question, we'll get onto that one in just a second. So Ollie, what's your thoughts on this here? Do you reckon Digne to Dallas, or Trent and Bruno to Dallas and Mane?
Well, the top option being Trent and Bruno to Dallas and Mane is very, very aggressive, which obviously you like to see when you're chasing down points. Statement of intent. Is it worth it? I would probably say not, because obviously Trent has a decent fixture against Crystal Palace. Bruno on decent form. Sadio Mane not on the best of form, not at the greatest of seasons. Digne to Dallas, I don't mind it. So if it was one of those two options, I'd probably go with the second one and go Digne to Dallas, because I don't think that first one would be worth it.
Yeah, and we'll throw it to you now, Jack. What's your thoughts? Getting rid of Bruno for the last game? Surely that's not going to sit right with you.
Oh, listen, I dumped Bruno last week, so I think I brought Trent in and I've taken Bruno out. So I don't know what you mean. I think you've got to keep Trent in there. The Mane one, not too sure as well, but I don't know. I think they could be good moves. Dallas and Mane, but could he get rid of someone else for Trent? I think Trent should stay in there if he's got him already. And Dallas is a good asset in there. I don't know what's that. Oh yeah, second one you haven't done yet, have you? Sorry.
No, not quite yet. We'll move on to that second one now. Kufal or Smith Rowe for this week. So Jack, we'll head it over to you first. You were so eager to answer it there, but two quite different players there. Obviously, one being a defender, one being a midfielder. But I'm assuming he's talking about who he should start for this week. Kufal has got Southampton, and Smith Rowe has got Brighton.
Well, I brought Smith Rowe in for my draft this week. Actually, I like Smith Rowe. They've got a good fixture against Brighton. They're on good form. So yeah, Smith Rowe I like.
And Ollie, what's your thoughts? Kufal has been one of your star players this season. You've stuck with him for quite a while now. So are you eager to give the Kufal the start?
No, I'm going with Smith Rowe as well. Kufal has been such a loyal servant for me all season. I have had Smith Rowe in as well earlier on, but I'm going to go with the Arsenal player just because of his fixture. Brighton at the Emirates, you'd expect that he'll be involved in some goals. Obviously, Southampton, I've brought in Danny Ings, so I suppose if I think that he's going to score, that means that Kufal won't get the clean sheet. So I've sort of got to go with that mindset. So I'd go Smith Rowe if I were you. Safe, but obviously it's your team. You might want to go with Kufal. Another question: Holding or Kufal? Again, same logic. Arsenal, I'd go Rob Holding. But obviously, if it's your team, but just my advice would be to go with the Arsenal assets.
Yeah, how good was Holding, by the way? Like I think me and you got him in at the same time, Ollie.
Oh, just over Christmas and New Year.
Yeah,
Rob Holding was unbelievable. Him and Pablo Mari back in the day. Oh my days, they were unbelievable.
Yeah, they were decent for a couple of weeks. I remember when you two got him in, actually. But thank you very much for the comment. And if anyone else is watching live and has comments, just drop them in and we'll do our best to answer them throughout the podcast. We'll get back on to Joe Linton. He unfortunately wasn't able to fire for me this week. The Guru peer pressured me into doing it. And it just sort of didn't pull off for me. So don't get peer pressured into doing stupid things. But just a little bit of a joke, a little bit of something funny to do there. And obviously the Guru planted the seed, so that was never going to end too well for me. And we'll move on to him now with his points for the week. He got 56 points, which is very good from him, and you can see the main reason why there, Ollie, in the middle of his defence. Nat Fildini, what a game he had against Burnley.
And obviously it was against the Clarets, so you don't mind seeing that. Decent for Nat Phillips to get his first goal for Liverpool. But I mean, I did like his post-match interview where he said that he'd rather head one off the line than head one in the back of the net, which was quite refreshing. But it's a surprising one, isn't it? Because you don't think that Nat Phillips would return with a goal, and obviously has done. So a very, very shrewd pick.
Yeah, well, I've had Kabak in for the past couple of weeks and he hasn't really done much, so I definitely missed an opportunity there where I could have gone with Nat Phillips instead, and he's sort of done well in the past couple of weeks. He had the usual culprits. He had Dallas. He went with Bruno Fernandes as captain, Jack, so you'll be quite happy to see that, and the Guru would have been relieved to see that the assist was given to him, so I'm assuming he would be biased towards that sort of decision this week as he wasn't the other week with his goal.
Yeah, listen, it's quite a tough one to take. Obviously, I took him out and he got the assist, and obviously United got looking like they were going to win and then not. So yeah, it's a bit frustrating on that for me, really. But he's done well with Foden in there and the Phillips shout. Like that, it's just annoying. Obviously, being a United fan, just hate Liverpool assets, but he's done all right there, Phillips, hasn't he? For the Guru.
He definitely has helped him out a little bit there. And in the bottom right of the screen, we can see he's got Alejandro, as Statman Dave would call him. He stuck with Kelechi Iheanacho, and he did manage to get the goal against Chelsea, which was a bit annoying for me as well, because I sort of took him out for Joe Linton, which obviously didn't pay off. But on the topic of transfers, this week, what I am going to be doing is I've gotten my goalkeeper. I've got Schmeichel out, and I've gone with Peacock Farrell from Burnley in, because I think he's going to play because Pope is injured, and if he doesn't, Guaita will play against Liverpool. So it's just sort of a little bit of precaution, because I think Spurs are going to go all for it against Leicester, and I think it's going to be probably a decently high scoring game. So now that I've said that, in the morning when I wake up with egg on my face because Leicester have kept a clean sheet and beaten Spurs 3-0 at home, please don't come back and reference this. But yeah, that's my transfer of the week. And obviously you boys have been through your transfers as well. So the only thing we have to do with the league now is go through the top 10 heading into the final day. Tom Stones sits there in first. I think we could have given him the crown a couple of weeks ago and claimed him as the champion of the mini league. Brian Curtis is in the hot seat to catch him in second. Keith Thomas in third. Paganotis in fourth. Deza in fifth. Rash Murray in sixth. Myself in seventh. Jimmy in eighth. Mine and Ollie's mate Xavier Appella in ninth. He's come from absolutely nowhere. Absolutely nowhere. How's he got up there? No idea, but he's sitting nicely in ninth, mate. And then we've got Richard rounding off the top 10 in 10th. And the reason that Ollie's so annoyed about that one is because he sits all the way down in 17th right there.
I mean, yeah, precisely. He's come from nowhere as Xavier. Bloody hell.
Maybe you can get him on the pod next week, boys.
Might have to if he beats Ollie, just so he can sit there and
I'm not going to
torment
catch him.
If he comes
30
above
points clear of me, 31 points clear of me. I'm not going to catch him.
Yeah, he's only,
you, Elliot.
He's only 8 points behind me, so it's going to be interesting. I'm just hoping to stay within the top 10, but with no Joel Linton, the hope is probably quite low for me. But I'd love to just keep in the top 10. I'm sure the Guru would love to break into the top 10 as well. He sits in 13th currently. It's quite close actually to sort of anyone's game hanging around that 15th to sort of 6th mark, I would say 15th to 7th maybe. So it's definitely going to be very interesting. And then Jack, yourself, if we just keep scrolling down,
36 there now. Yeah, drops a little bit. 36. So yeah, target's still top 30. If we can maybe squeeze in there, give or take. Some people have a bit of a nightmare, but it's a tough one to ask now. So we'll be about borderline, but it'd be nice to get up there if I can.
Yeah, definitely. And that wraps up the mini league and how our teams went for the week. So we will move on now to the information part of the podcast, the Guru section. We pre-recorded a little bit earlier with Jack and Matt, so we're just going to have to play a video for you with all the information that you'll want heading into the last game week. The important advice that the Guru is going to give you. So, Virtual Matt, take it away.
I'm going to start now with differentials for the final game week. The marathon is over, and it's finally the sprint. And the first one is Pepe from Arsenal, home to Brighton, 2.1% ownership, huge differential this week. In midfield, he got a double against Palace. And I think it's a good home fixture for them against a Brighton team who did concede a few goals in their last game. So definitely one to watch out for in midfield. I know there's a lot of people chasing mini leagues, and that's definitely one that can move you up. Another one who's got a home game against Southampton for West Ham is Ben Rama, 0.3% owned. In the last couple of game weeks, he's hit assists, he scored goals, and that's really, really low ownership. So definitely one to look out for there in midfield. A third one, Ollie, you're not going to like this one too much, but it's got to be Chris Wood, away to Sheffield United for Burnley, 4.6% ownership. He's obviously been on fire in the last few months. Toned it down the last couple of game weeks, but away to Sheffield United, they're just there to be beaten, aren't they, this season? So definitely one to look out for. And then my fourth one, it's going to come as a bit of a huge differential, really, at 0.9% ownership. It's going to be Casilla from Leeds, the goalkeeper. Bielsa's come out and confirmed that he is going to be the number one tonight. He did play against Southampton. They've got a home game against West Brom. West Brom apparently might not have Matthias Pereira, so their goal threat will probably be reduced. And that's a pretty good option, I think, Casilla. If you've got the option of changing a goalkeeper, and 0.9% ownership is very low. And then the last one, this is one for you, Elliot, actually. It's going to be Almiron from Newcastle. I know he's probably not hit the heights the last few weeks, but he has got that tendency to just score on these random sort of game weeks, and I think this is a perfect one for him. Away to Fulham, a relegated team, 0.4% ownership, really, really low, and midfield option as well, which could be good because in midfield there's a lot of players we're not really expecting to play this week. Potentially your Bruno Fernandes's, your Man City midfielders. So he's definitely one to look out for if you need something different in midfield.
Yeah, some cracking options there from the Guru. Good bit of research gone into there, and been listening out for the news conferences with Bielsa's change of goalkeeper there. I think Pepe's a great one, mate. I've just snatched him for the draft this week, so I was quite happy about that steal. Not obviously hit the heights of what everyone expected, but I think he's going to be a good asset to have. Against maybe Dan Burns, going to struggle against him surely.
Yeah, I think he's a good option. That double against Palace is, put him on everyone's wish list for this week, I think. So, definitely good. And, Dan Burn, big defender, someone like Pepe, you think would be able to skin him a few times and put a couple of goals in potentially. Hopefully not. I personally, as a Spurs fan, I don't want Arsenal taking the 3 points, but from an FPL perspective, 2.1% at home, really good option.
Yeah, no, cracking picks there. And how about your 3 teams to watch this week?
Definitely Leeds. They're first on the list this week. I think at home to West Brom. They've been brilliant this season. Really good to watch. Good football. Lots of amazing fantasy league assets as well this season, like your Dallas, Bamfords, Rafinha's, Jack Harrison as well. Big shout out to him. So they're definitely one of the teams. And the next one's going to be Liverpool. They're fighting for this Champions League place. And I think they found a bit of form as well recently, so they're definitely on there at home to Palace. So Roy Hodgson's last game, but they look quite flat against Arsenal in the week, and they've got injuries to Benteke and Eze. So I think it's Liverpool. Liverpool's game for the taking there, so they're definitely going to be on there too. And then the last one, I'm going to put Burnley in there away at Sheffield United. Sheffield United are gone, not much to play for. Haven't looked too bad the last few weeks, but I think Burnley. Away there, Chris Wood will cause them a lot of problems. So I think that's probably the next one. It could have been Newcastle for Elliott again, but now I'll throw Burnley in there.
Yeah, nice. So the Crystal Palace hype is over after the setbacks for them 2 players missing.
Yeah, I think they're done now. Obviously, I did quite well out of them in from a draft perspective the other week, so I managed to get a bit lucky that week, but. In the week, I think Eze did his Achilles heel, so he's out. No Benteke, his bit of hot form's done. Looks like he's injured, so I think the Palace hype could be over. Do know they've got a reasonably good record at Anfield though, and I did read, but I can't see them getting a result. I think Liverpool will punish them and end up in the top 4.
No, fair enough. And just a quick one on Sheffield United. Obviously, they're at home now with the fans. Last game in the Premier League. Obviously with them being relegated. Not think they can snatch one against Burnley, who've conceded 7 in the last 2 games.
Yeah, it's a fair point actually with the fans, and obviously their form's picked up. But I think it's just a case of obviously they're rock bottom in the league, and there was a few tougher fixtures I think to pick this week. There wasn't really too many standouts. So I just thought, just for the fact that Sheffield United are bottom, I've got to throw Burnley in there. The fans could play a bit of a difference, but I'll go with the fact that they've been pretty toothless this season and continue the trend of picking teams that play Sheffield United, unfortunately.
No, very good. And last one on that one. What about Sean Dyche to Spurs?
You know what? If I did read another funny thing, if his name was Sean Dyche, then he would probably be considered, which is true. I do think if he was a Spanish, Italian foreigner, has that kind of cool name, and everyone kind of wants to look at him. But because it's Sean Dyche, they don't look at him. But interesting one with obviously the managerial situation. Obviously that's a different topic. But Sean Dyche to Spurs, probably not going to happen. But I do rate him as a manager personally.
No, great stuff. And what about your captain picks? This is what everyone's in for. What are your captain picks for this week, Guru?
Captain picks are definitely going to be the two that are fighting out for the Golden Boot this season. Mo Salah, Harry Kane. So he could potentially be his last game for the club. You think he'd want to go out on a high. He's got a brilliant record against Leicester. He scored a few hat-tricks against them before. It's usually the team he always scores against. So definitely putting him on there, going for that Golden Boot with Salah. So those two been points galore all season as well. So they're on the list. Another Liverpool player is going to be Roberto Firmino. He's been a bit off this season at times, a lot of blanks, but these last few weeks he's really hit those points. Home to Palace as well. I know he's one of the sides he's got a decent record against. He did score in the reverse fixture and did hit a double-digit score, I believe. So he's in there from Liverpool. Another one who's been brilliant for a lot of fantasy teams this season, Patrick Bamford, definitely on there. Leeds with a nice home game. So definitely a captain shout. And then the last one to wrap up the captains is Chris Wood, who I mentioned as a differential away at Sheffield United. I think he's gone under the radar a bit this weekend because everyone's going to be turning to Bamford or Antonio. So I think Chris Wood's a good one to get onto as well.
And your curveball captain for the final game week from the Guru, the last one of the season.
It's a very, very tough one this week because we were sort of talking about the fixtures. There's only a couple of sort of standouts and everything else is quite close. There's going to be a lot of changes to starting 11. So I'm going to do this one. I'm going to go for a Newcastle player. It's going to be Joe Willock. Scored against Sheffield United in the week, against relegated Fulham this weekend. Newcastle have been on some pretty good form. And I think as a curveball, something a bit different. Definitely one I think is Willock.
Yeah, he's been in some form, that kid. He's been banging in the goals. It's 6 from 6. Deserves that captain armband, and obviously Newcastle with a good fixture in there. And just from your own personal one this week, the Guru, who are you captaining in your classic?
I think it's going to have to be Salah. I'm transferring in Bamford. I looked at him as a captain, and I just thought, I think he'll score, but will he play 90 minutes? Leeds have been making quite a lot of early subs. Obviously, Harry Kane could be the last time I get to captain him in a Spurs shirt. He's been brilliant for me down the years as well. So there's obviously that side of it. And then Sergio Aguero come to mind as well. He's been brilliant for me in the last, 8-9 years in the Premier League as a captain. He was my first ever triple captain. I'll never forget when he got 5 goals against Newcastle. I think it was 4 or 5 goals, and he was my first ever triple captain. So he come to mind. But I think it's going to be Salah. Liverpool got a lot to play for. He still had high points this season. Been a bit patchy the last couple of months, but when Liverpool score, it's normally him. So it's probably going to have to be Salah.
No, listen, great choice. I don't think you can go wrong with Salah. I think there's going to be a lot of fancy managers out there weighing up between the Salah, Kane, and Bamford. I think they're the kind of top choices. But the curveball in there with Willock would be a good one, and even the likes of Firmino, as you mentioned, and Chris Wood. And what we're going to do now, we're going to go into the Guru section, the Guru Scout 11 section. Obviously, this is your last one as well, Guru, so we're very keen to see what we've got in store for this time. So let's just jump that. Here we go.
Yeah, last one of the season. What's been a very, very up and down FPL season, very, very strange. A lot of cancellations with COVID. It's something, we've never seen a season like this before. So, but here we go with the last one, the starting goal. And I've gone for a Newcastle player, Dubravka. He's got a orange flag on his name at the moment, but good old Steve Bruce did say that he should be fit to play. So I think for goalkeepers, he's a good one to look out for. Would have looked at the Leeds goalie as well, Casilla, but I was already used my 3 players. So going to go Newcastle there. He gets a lot of saves as well. Dubravka, always pretty good for bonus. Back 3 I've gone for. Double up on Liverpool. Phillips, he got a goal against Burnley last time out. Alexander-Arnold, been on an absolute fire the last few weeks. Was very unlucky not to get in the captains this week as well. Trent. Dallas as well, another one who was unlucky to miss out on the captain picks. I think he's just been unbelievable in Fantasy League this year, Dallas. Going into midfield, Rafinha, brilliant player. Really obvious pick, I think, this week. Pepe, we spoke about him. looked good in the last game for Arsenal, and obviously finishing at home to Brighton. Sterling's in there, so I've talked to him a lot. Talked him up a lot at the start of the season for those first few months, and probably hasn't hit the heights of previous FPL years, but he's still in that sort of top 10 midfielders for points. And you think he'd start this week. I don't think he's going to get the nod to start in the Champions League final. He's lost his place in Pep's first 11, so I think he'll be in there against Everton. And I think you've got to get a City player in the team this week. And then Salah with the captain's armband, again, speaks for itself. Patchy the last few months, but again, he's been right up there in terms of his goals and his output this season. And then front three, Chris Wood, spoke about him away to Sheffield United. Patrick Bamford, home to West Brom, obvious choice. And then rounding up with Harry Kane, that I hope it's not, but it could be his last game for the club, and it's against a team, like I mentioned before, he usually always scores against them. So he's going for that golden boot. He's on penalties. He'll be on free kicks. He'll probably be on corners again. He'll be on everything, I think, tonight for the club. And he's in there with the vice captain. And I think Salah just edges it because it's the home game and the slightly easier game on paper. But that does round up this last Scout 11 for what's been a topsy-turvy, strange, crazy FPL season.
It has been certainly just that. And listen, a very strong Scout 11 there. Like the back three was pretty similar to what I picked for my classic. I was weighing it between Phillips, and I thought, for myself, I was thinking Tierney would be a good shout for Arsenal. Obviously, liking what they've done last couple of games. Good fixture against Brighton. And obviously, the midfield is absolutely class, and the strike force is unbelievable. A lot of firepower there, a lot of good fixtures. Emotion in there as well with Kane, as you mentioned. But listen, the Sky 11 strong as ever. Good one to finish off on. Looking forward to seeing this version of this next week, which will be our team of the season. I'm sure there'll be a couple of assets on there which will be translated into that team. But for now, Guru, thanks for joining us. And all the best for the game week 38.
Yeah, look, thanks, lads. Thanks, Jack, Elliot, Ollie. It's been a topsy-turvy season, but we'll do it all again next season. And obviously, we've got the Euro 2020 Fantasy League as well, which I can't wait for. So, everyone that tunes in, thanks for all the support, and hope to see you in the Euro 2020 Fantasy Football as well.
Perfect. Cheers, Matt.
Thanks, everyone.
Oh, wait, is he done now? Is he done now? I've just had a little snooze, lads.
Thank you very much to the Guru for that Guru section. It's probably quite emotional for him, his last one of the season. So it's definitely a good one there, Matt. A lot of information there, and Ollie's had a nice little bit of kip as well. So he's very happy. And our man in the comments, Sif, I'm not really sure how to pronounce your name. I'm really sorry if I've butchered it there, but he's just sat through all of that just so we can answer his comments. We very much appreciate that from you. We'll bring up your comment now, and he asks us, choose my 11 please. Guaita and Mendy. I'm assuming he's referring to Mendy, the goalkeeper from Chelsea. Phillips, Trent, Dallas, Holding, Kufau as his defenders. Bruno, Zaha, Saint Maximin, Smith Rowe, and Salah as his midfielders, and then Bamford, Antonio, Kane as his strikers. So Jack and Ollie, we'll go to you first, Jack. Out of the goalkeepers, who are you sort of backing this week?
It's a tough one. It's two tough keepers really to choose from. Are Chelsea going to do it against Villa? Is Harry Kane going to be? Salah going to be firing against Crystal Palace? Let's save points wise, Gator, but then maybe potential clean sheet wise, Mendy. Let's go. I'll go Mendy.
Yeah, and Ollie, are you going to differ from that, or are you going to stick to Mendy as well?
No, I think on paper Mendy has the easier fixture, so I'd go with the Chelsea goalkeeper if I were you.
Yeah, I think so as well, and obviously, the incentive of Champions League football and stuff like that is also there as well. But Grealish is back for Villa, so you never really know. So we'll start your team off with Mendy in goal, and then out of your 5 defenders, you've got Phillips, Trent, Dallas, Holding, and Kufau. Out of the 5 there, Jack, who are 2 that you think have to start?
I think have to start. I think he actually said in the comments as well. I don't think he's transferred Dallas in yet. I think he's still got Digne in there. So based on what he's originally got, Trent, Phillips, and Holding, based on his current team without the Dallas transfer.
Yeah, but if he did go to Dallas, you would put Dallas in there, make it a back four, or would you stick with a three?
Yeah, I think he's got 1 free transfer, so yeah, stick with the back three. Back three. Yeah, maybe Phillips, Trent, Dallas. I think I'd go for actually, and then maybe transfer.
I would as well.
Yeah.
Just I was about to say I'm gonna make it really complicated and go with Trent Phillips and I'll go Trent Phillips and Dallas.
Yeah, same as what the Guru picked as well.
Yeah. So at the moment we've got Mendy and a back three of Phillips, Trent, and Stuart Dallas.
Yeah.
So we'll move on to the midfielders now. I definitely can't argue very much there with the back three as well, especially because he says he's chasing. He needs the big points from the big players in his midfield and attack. So he's got Bruno Fernandes, Zaha, St. Maximin, Smith Rowe, and Salah in his midfield. And I would personally be inclined to say start all of them except Zaha for me. But that's just my opinion. Ollie, are you sort of nodding your head there in agreement?
Yeah, definitely, mate. You took the words right out of my mouth, mate. I think Bruno at the moment, again, you don't bench him. St. Maximin, relatively easy fixture against Fulham. Zaha obviously got a tough one. So not really expecting him to do much against Liverpool. Obviously we've got Salah against Palace, definitely an easy fixture for him. And then we've said Arsenal and Brighton. He says in the comments just quickly as I'm reading through, saying Bruno won't play or St. Maximin injured, obviously.
Yeah, these are my faults.
Well, obviously, if they don't play, then you've got players that will come off the bench anyway. So you've got a nice 15-man squad. So if players are injured, then they'll come in anyway. But I think for safety, you start Bruno, you start St. Maximin, Smith Rowe, and Salah in a midfield four, and then go with a 3-4-3. That's what I'd do if all players are fit.
Yeah, personally, just on the St. Maximin issue there that you said, I think if he's going to play, he'll start. And if he's not going to play, he's not going to come off the bench. I don't think it's worth Bruce risking him. I think even in his cabbage head, he would know that. So I think, he's going
to... He's worked wonders for you. He's worked wonders for you. Come on.
Turned it around. I've given him credit towards the end of the season, turned it around since
Brighton. Call him a cabbage head.
But if Saint's going to play, he will start. If he doesn't start, he won't play for the whole game. I'm pretty certain because him and his injuries, you don't want to risk him. So that'll be your midfield four then: Bruno, St. Maximin, Smith Rowe, and Salah. And then it's a pretty easy choice for the strikers. Then Jack, isn't it? Out of the three, which three are you going to start?
Bamford, Antonio, Kano.
That's a bit of a controversial one. Not too sure about that one. But so far with your 11, we've gone with Mendy, Phillips, Trent, Dallas, Bruno, St. Maximin, Smith Rowe, Salah, Bamford, Antonio, and Kane. And he's just said in the live comments there, the order for the subs then. So obviously we've got Guaita, Holding, Kufau, and Zaha leftovers. Guaita obviously has to be the first on your bench. So it's a debate between Holding, Kufau, and Zaha. So Jack, out of the bench there, who would be the first one that you would sort of go with?
I'm thinking Arsenal going for a clean sheet, aren't I? That's what I've kind of been chirping on about during the pod. So Holding first maybe. If he comes on and then gets that clean sheet, then that'll be the bonus points in there. St. Maximin, if obviously he's injured and not going to play a full game, he's not going to get the minutes, points, is he? And then Soufal, not too sure about West Ham. Not too sure defensively for this game.
Yeah, what about you, Ollie? What's your thoughts out of the order then? Jack said his order, but what would you go with?
I'd go with the way you read them out, being Holding, then Soufal and Zaha. Personally, I think Zaha with a tough fixture, you can't bank on him, despite the fact that he's probably got the most creative, expertise out of the three, the most creative caliber. He's probably the most creative player out of the three. He's got the toughest fixture. I think Holding as a defender, clean sheet points are paramount in that position. So I think he's more likely to get the clean sheet than Soufal is, and then Soufal's in the middle. So pretty simple decision, I think.
Yeah, okay then. So just for you, Seif, we'll just read through your team then. So we're going to go with Mendy, Phillips, Trent, Dallas, Bruno, St. Maximin, Smith Rowe, Salah, Bamford, Antonio, Kane. And then for the bench, Ollie's gone and said Guaita, Holding, Kufau, and Zaha. So that sort of rounds up your 15-man squad then. And we've just seen that you popped in the comments just then. So Digne to Dallas is my transfer. And I think, we're all in sort of agreement there that would probably be the best option for you to make in this final week. Dallas is been a cheap player this season who's done a lot of wonders for a lot of people. So that'll be what we would do with your team. And thank you very much for the comments. Just remember, if you are watching live, feel free to drop them and we will do our best to help you. And we wish you the best of luck for your week, Seif. And thank you very much for the comments. And we will move on now to the final section of the podcast. We've got the draft section, and it is all shaping up in our draft league. Towards the end of the season, it's going to be a photo finish for the places in the league. So we'll just go back to game week 37 and just look at the results that happened. We can see there, Jack, you managed to beat Papapili. Big win for you. You've got to play the bottom teams in order to challenge for the league. So just a routine win for you.
Yeah, listen, took out the win there, just obviously full steam ahead. We're looking for that winning pile and the pressure on the Guru at the top. Papa Peely put up a little bit of a fight, but there was no contest in the end.
Yeah, it didn't look like there was too much of a competition there. But James and Matt have given us one of our only draws of the season on 51 points each. They'll both feel very hard done by. But, James has sort of given you a sniff of a chance there, Jack, hasn't he, by not losing to the Guru?
Yeah, he's slowed it down just for 1 week, and he goes down to the wire now with the final game. It was obviously a shock result, seeing that draw, and I thought the game would be wrapped up now, and the league, and thought it was over. But I've got a little bit of hope left.
Yeah, that's all you can do at this sort of stage of the season is hope. And Ollie hoped last week that he was going to beat me, and he didn't end up beating me. So it was a glorious week for me in draft as I beat Ollie by 11 points. I went with Joe Willock, as I mentioned before, and he fired for me. I had Foden, had Cancelo, Ollie as well. So it all just sort of went right for me this week, other than a few little bumps in the road. But what were your thoughts on that one, Ollie? Obviously, you said you were very keen to beat me, so better luck next time.
Well, obviously, before Project Restart, there was 3 words echoed by a certain Karen Brady, who was quite high up at West Ham. Null and void. Can we null and void this draft season, please? Can we please null and void this stupid game? Draft, honestly, I love FPL. I love Classic. Draft is not the one. Honestly, I've had a nightmare. I did an Ancelotti and thought I won the league by game week 5, and I just haven't done it. I've fallen apart.
I'll never forget when you said, I think if I beat Jack this week, the league's probably wrapped up.
I think we've got to find that. I deserve to be hounded for that for the rest of my FPL
I think that was like game week 18 or something like that.
Yeah. I think I was thinking maybe game week 15.
Make or break game for the season. What a joke.
And since then, it's not been too pretty for you, Ollie. But Dave managed to beat Rolando. There's not too much surprise there. It's sort of been the story of his season. Rolando getting on most weeks, and we just tell him that he's lost, and he sort of moves on. But if we do move on to the fixtures for this week, the final fixtures of the season, we start off with James against Jack. And Jack, you're starting to get a little bit nervous, a bit shaky from that, because James obviously 51 points this week. He had quite a decent score. So are you going into this last game a little bit nervous?
Yeah, he's looking good, James, to be fair. So it's a tough one for me to end on. Obviously, the Guru's playing bottom of the league. I've got to play a guy who's in form. So I'm hoping, I think I've made about 5 or 6 moves this week, just to try and adapt to the fixtures. Fingers crossed I can come out with a result. But I think, I don't know, it's going to be tough. It's going to be tight. Could end up with another draw.
Yeah, we definitely could do, but we'll just interrupt the draft section just quickly for Rob, who said in the comments, who do I give the last spot on my team to? He's got Vidra, Zaha and Holding. So, Ollie, we'll go over to you first, and obviously your choice is going to be Mate Vidra. As a massive Burnley fan yourself, you would love for him to start, wouldn't you?
Well, I mean, Rob, if you, I hope you watch the podcast and you know that statement about me being a Burnley fan is extremely invalid. So because of the fact I'm a Blackburn fan, and I don't condone you bringing any Burnley players into my team, the choice is between two. It's between Zaha and Rob Holding. But on a serious note, I don't think you start Mate Vydra anyway. I think you would start him over Zaha, but you wouldn't start either of them over Rob Holding. So if I were you, out of the three, my last spot would go to Rob Holding. Even if I'm being unbiased, I think Rob Holding takes the final spot.
Yeah, Jack, what do you think?
Yeah, Holding for the wonders that he did for me during the season, and just because I've got Tierney in my team this week and Pepe in my draft, so let's go Holding.
See, Rob, unfortunately, I disagree with these two, and I think that you've got to go with Mate Vydra for this week. I genuinely do. I think Sheffield United have got a weak defence. If Vydra can start with Chris Wood, he can cause a lot of havoc to them. But I think Zaha is definitely the one that I wouldn't go with. But these two reckon Holding. And just to make your choice easier and not to look like an idiot if it doesn't pay off, I'd probably go with Holding as well. And then, maybe give Vydra the first slot on your bench just in case anyone doesn't play. So I think Holding would be the option from us. And thank you very much for the comment. He's just said quickly, does Vydra get the minutes though? He's towards the back end of the season. He's actually started
playing,
quite good, hasn't he? They've sort of
been playing,
causing a little bit of havoc together. He's not obviously the most prolific scorer, but it really just depends what Sean Dyche wants to do. I think I'd probably back him in to start, but I think Rob Holding's probably the one that we would go with there. Brighton don't score too many goals, so I think
I love that you just changed your mind, Elliot.
Well, I would love to campaign for Vydra, but I don't want to confuse Rob too much with only a couple of hours to go until the deadline. So we'll go with
all
Rob
the best,
Holding.
Rob.
Yeah, all the best, mate. All your FPL dreams come true for this last game week. And then we'll head back on to draft just quickly. And Ollie, can you go get your dad's phone and just transfer in a bunch of Sheffield United players for me, please? Because I've got Peely in the last game of the season, and I'm a little bit nervous that he's going to beat me, lads. So, Ollie, if you could do that, that'd be awesome for me, mate. So, can you just go grab his phone for me?
I've got my phone here, as you say. I'm just going to message him now to get him to get all the best players in, just so you don't win and you can't finish on top of me this season, because I swear down, if you win, I lose, you go above me. So, and that can't happen. So
you might get relegated out of the draft.
As much as we're best mates off the FPL draft scene, Elliot, I hope you get smashed.
Likewise, mate. Likewise.
Fair enough. I wouldn't expect anything less from you, mate. Bring it on.
Someone that probably will. Well, looked like he was going to get smashed this week by the Guru was Rolando, but we've got intel from Jack. We've done a little background research, and if the Guru is watching, he should be quite nervous because Jack has told Rolando to check his team, according to you, Jack. So has he got a couple of players in this week, made a couple of transactions?
Listen, I got a source. Ollie's always asking me where I get my sources, but this one's a solid source. Like, Rolando has checked his team for the first time this season. He had the auto select on for the draft at the start of the season. Hasn't checked it all season. He's rock bottom of our draft competition, and he has checked it, and there is absolutely nothing out there on the transfer market, so I'm not too sure how much of a difference it's going to make. But I know he's brought a few transactions in that's going to, give him a bit of a chance, and then therefore give me a bit of a chance. But I'm relying on him pulling out the goods, the Guru having a nightmare, and me winning my game.
Yeah, you got to do everything you can in your power to try and beat the Guru in this league, so you can retain the title of the Draft Guru. And unfortunately for you, Ollie, you can't retain that title of Draft Guru, despite what you might have said in game week 5 and game week 15. But you've got Dave in this last week, and he's top scorer in the league. Are you a little bit nervous that he's going to beat you, and you're just not that confident, or are you quite confident going into this week?
Yeah, I'm nervous. But to be honest, I'll quote Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Couldn't care less. It's the most mid-table battles. I wouldn't admit the fact I'm mid-table last week, but I think I've got to accept my mediocrity and the fact that I was hoping to be well above Dave's level this season. Dave's overachieved and I've underachieved. So, credit to Dave. I thought that he would be propping up the table along with Rolando, but he's had a brilliant season and I've had a shocker. So, just got to make sure I close out the season with a win, and I'm not too confident that I will.
Playing for third place here, mate. Come on, it's not mid-table.
It's going to be third or it's going to be sixth for you, Ollie. I've got a feeling that's going to sort of be the way.
If I'm in the bottom three with my dad and Rolando, who haven't checked their team. I mean, to be fair, I haven't really, but that's just not. It's not what you want, is it?
Yeah, especially with
you'll be around the goal difference, mate, with Elliot.
Yeah, I mean,
Chris Reed is fuming, by the way, in the comments. Chris Reed is fuming.
Says Rolando's team's been compromised. The Manx are all corrupt, and it's hard to argue there, Chris. We'd love for you to be on here so you could say that to Jack. But no, we've got to respect that he's trying to do everything.
You know what? Apologies, Elliot, for cutting in. I reckon we get Chris on the podcast next season. Why not?
Get him in the draft league.
100%. Yeah, listen, I think when we get onto the Euros, I think Chris will be making a few appearances. He might even be popping on next week on the season review as one of our guests and see where they are now. And yeah, I think Chris will be love to come on as our UK correspondent and FPL UK manager.
Yeah, he's definitely, he's got an eye for FPL. He's very passionate about it, so we definitely got to get him involved.
I think he's very passionate about it. I'm not too sure he's got the eye for it.
Jack's not too sure if he can back it up there, but we'll just have to see this week if Jack can back up his draft guru status. Matt Day is in the hot seat to win the league. He's a point ahead of Jack, so as long as he doesn't draw or lose, the trophy is going to be his. We'll order him a Papa John's pizza and he can tuck into that and have a good dinner knowing that he's won the draft league. Jack sits in second on 66 points. Dave and Ollie are tied for third and fourth. Dave ahead of him on goal difference on 60 points respectively. Myself and James are both tied on 57 points, but James has got me on goal difference as well. And then I think it's about time that we can confirm the relegation for Peely and Rolando, lads. So yeah, might not be seeing them too much next season, but it was a pleasure having you in the league, and yeah, best of luck. So we'll have to find some more teams, more people, and more teams to join the league, Jack.
Yeah, that's it. We're going to get on the recruitment drive. We've had a fair few guests this season on the pod, and we're going to be speaking to a couple of them to invite them into our draft competition. There might even be a Division 2 promotion relegation for next season.
Like
so that could be quite exciting.
Get relegated, Ollie.
Just to let you know, lads, the bottom four will be going down.
Oh, brilliant.
The stakes rise.
So we'll have to see how that goes, and yeah, I'll probably give you a bit more insight to that at the start of next season and see who's on the pod with us.
He's got plans, but that wraps up the final draft section, the final preview of a draft section for this season. And what a season it has been for us. But we were moving on to the Euros in a couple of weeks' time. We've got our free league and our paid league. And, we've got to get everyone involved, Jack. People have got to start joining. More and more team news is coming out by the hour for each team competing in the Euro, so it's really important that everyone's joining. And where do they have to go to get the codes and everything to join the league, Jack?
Yeah, that's right, El. What are we, 19 days away from the Euros? We've been waiting for this for over a year, haven't we? So it's we've launched our fantasy football, the EFF. I think it's been hashtagged the Euro Fantasy Football Comp with the UEFA app, so you can download the UEFA app now. And then on there, he's got the fantasy football. We've got 2 leagues available. We've got our free one that you can enter, which is, I think we're around mid-30s at the moment. So if you want to get involved in that, we'd love to have you in. And then we've also got our paid mini league as well. So you can jump in there. It's $25 Aussie dollars to enter. We're going to be paying for cash prizes on every match day. There are 7 chances to win in there, as well as the overall cash pool prize, which is around $400 at the moment. So $250 if you win it, $125 if you come second, and there's a $50 bonus if you come third. On the screen at the moment is our little slideshow of the competitions that we've got in there. And also at the bottom of the screen across the banner, you can visit our website, www.e-sportslive.com.au/FPL Addicts /Euro 2020. And then you can find all the information on there about our paid mini and our free mini. The free mini code, if you've already joined the competition in terms of the UEFA, you've signed up, the code is 45KZE7YN GW3807. But yeah, just jump on our website and you'll see all that information if you can't understand my English accent.
Yeah, thank you very much, Jack, and we'll wrap the podcast up there. For the last time this season, the preview show is over, and for the last time this season, may all your FPL dreams come true for the last game week, and we'll see you next week for the preview show of the 2020-21 season. We hope you've enjoyed it this season, and we'll be on to the Euros soon, but join us next week for one last FPL show this season, and we thank you for watching, and we'll see you soon. As again, may all your FPL dreams come true, and we will speak to you soon.
Cheers, guys.